Welcome into the post-game interview with Brandon Cruz, and Brandon, a 54-40 victory over Guntersville. Coaches don't like using the term revenge, but as everybody else loves the revenge wins, it was a good comeback win from that loss from earlier in the year to them here at home.
Yeah, it wasn't. We never had a revenge mindset per se, but we were thankful for that game we played at Guntersville early in the year. We had the chance to go on the road and play a really good team in a tough environment. And even though we lost, we learned a lot about ourselves. So tonight was a really good measuring stick to kind of see, here's where we were in November, here's where we are now. So, the revenge and beating Guntersville, we never really talked much about that. We really made tonight about us and using this as a measuring stick to see how far we've come, and still knowing there's a month left of basketball, that we still have a ways to go, and we knew Guntersville would do some things that would test us and push us and show us some more things that we have to work on.
Talking about the improvement from the Guntersville game to now, especially coming out of the Destin tournament, playing some good teams. By my count, and this could be completely wrong, it could have been a whole lot more, but by my count, 4 turnovers tonight. Wow. For sure it's going to be less than 10 turnovers if I got you at 4, but I feel like the ball movement, ball handling, we're getting extremely good at it now here in the second half of the season.
And, if you would have came in our locker room before the game, the pregame talk on our board, we talked about turnovers and being able to move the basketball without turning it over. We have a lot of respect for Guntersville and how hard they play and how they really get up in you and pressure you defensively. So, when you play a team like that, you have to move the basketball to create some scoring opportunities. But the more you move the ball, the more chances for turnovers you give them. So that was a big point of emphasis. If you would have told me before the game that we would have had single-digit turnovers, one, I would have called you a liar because I wouldn't have believed it. But two, I would have said I would have liked our chances because that was a big point of emphasis for us.
Yeah, second half defensively, we go into the locker room, first of all. We're going to the locker room, 28-27. You got the 1-point lead, and our boys, and you came out second half, and you only gave up 13 points to Guntersville in the second half. That is probably the number one most impressive thing for me tonight was our defense in the second half.
Well, especially when you look at the score and realize we gave up 18 in the first quarter. Mm-hmm. So first quarter, I think they played with a little extra intensity that we weren't quite ready for. It took us a little while to kind of get warmed up and get settled in. They had a very attacking mindset early on, and so we had to be able to adjust to that, and luckily we did. But yeah, I thought defensively we were pretty on point, especially in the second half with playing our rules, playing with a lot of effort, playing scouting report. Like I know one in particular is Jacob Green did a great job of winning his matchup scouting report wise. He guarded his opponent exactly like how we wanted to guard him, and he had a lot of success doing that. Really proud of the defensive effort in the second half against a very good offensive basketball team.
All right, let's talk about some of the individuals. Daniel McCary, 20 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and went 4 of 6 from behind the arc tonight. The third quarter is when he took over, and when Daniel's feeling it, those threes are like lasers going right into the bucket. He got hot, and as a broadcaster, I feel completely awful with this, but I missed the move he had in the paint, and I don't know what happened, but Daniel took over third quarter though.
Daniel has been playing his best basketball from about pre-Christmas on. He has really kind of just got his legs under him, and he's playing smart and he's playing hard, and on nights like this he is just a really, really special basketball player. He has a competitive spirit that we feed off of, and he chunks of the third quarter, it was get him the ball and he goes and makes a play. Mm-hmm. And he's feeling it when he starts hitting those deep threes. and he hit a couple deep three. He hit one in the third, and then he hit a really deep one in the fourth. He just, you kind of see it in his eyes. He plays with a lot of confidence, and he goes for 15 in the second half. We hold Guntersville to 13 as a team, and Daniel scores 15. When that happens, you're probably winning the basketball game.
Another strong performance. Eric Moore with 8 points, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, and really didn't have to do a lot of scoring with Daniel going off for 20. But Eric with 8, Eli with 10. Before we started the interview, you and Corey talked about that duo right there. Eric starting to find Eli down in the paint because the defense is coming out toward Eric.
Yeah, that's a great point. What Eric has really settled into a great role of, it's kind of a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing that he's such a talented basketball player, but the curse is you're going to get everybody's attention every night. And so we've seen the last few ball games that, teams are game planning specifically to try to hold Eric back. Well, that creates some double team situations, and he is doing a great job of playing under control and playing smart and finding guys like Eli. And Eli is doing a great job of catching and finishing in traffic and going up strong, and he has really settled into his role. So Eric only scoring 8, sometimes I care less about how many you score. It's did you play well? And I thought in the moments that he was in, he played well. Also want to say that he battled some foul trouble in the first half. So that was a chance for when other guys stepped in, in particular Davin Young, Harrison Miller, definitely Harrison, gave us some huge minutes in the first half where we could kind of still hang around and chip away and go to the locker room with a 1-point lead. We had our leading scorer on the bench in foul trouble. So Eric did a great job of finishing the game strong in the second half, but guys like Davin and Harrison, they got us to that point.
DeAndre Elliott, I know he wouldn't be where he's at without the teaching of you and all the things that he can do on the court with his levitating and his finishing at the basket. I've tried to get DeAndre to teach me how to do this. He won't do it. But DeAndre Elliott, it seems like now either at the end of the half, he's usually going to have the ball in his hands and it has going to stand a great chance of going in, or at least once a game he's going to be finishing at the rim with some crazy, ridiculous move in the bucket. The ball's going in.
Yeah, DeAndre is going to have the ball in his hands. He's our quarterback. I have 100% complete and total confidence in him and his abilities and in his decision making. We coach DeAndre very hard. He's such a talented, such a smart basketball player. With that, I don't let him get by with mistakes. And so with that, sometimes I probably coach him a little too hard, but there may not be a more coachable player in our program. Everything is yes, sir, yes, sir. He has never made an excuse. He's never had bad body language. He carries himself. The DeAndre you see on the court who's fast and aggressive and playing with enthusiasm and having fun, he's the same kid in first and second period. Every time you see him, he's got a smile on his face. You can coach him. His teammates love him. And he's a guy that we have complete and total trust when the ball is in his hands, which is why at the end of the quarter we're holding for a last shot. Fourth quarter, when teams are really getting up in us and pressuring us, we know where the ball is going, and we want it in 10's hands.
The guy that led in rebounding tonight with 7, and he's averaging 7 rebounds per game over a 3-game stretch, is one of the shortest guys on the court. And I don't know how he does it, but Jacob Green, 7 rebounds tonight.
As soon as you said leading us in reboundings, I already knew who that was. And I've got an answer for you. I know how he does it. He does it because he's got a lot of heart. He's got a lot of toughness. He's got a lot of character. He is. I don't want to get choked up here.
That's only supposed to happen at the end of the year now.
There's not a player in our program who gets more out of his abilities than Jacob Green. If DeAndre isn't the player on the team that gets coached the hardest, it's Jacob. Jacob is a kid that I get on him when he misses a three. He's shooting 43% from the year from three, and every time he misses one short, I'm telling him to get it over the front of the rim. It's because I have so much confidence in him. I think the ball's going in every time he shoots it. But Jacob Green can get 7 rebounds in a game like this because there may not be a tougher basketball player on the floor, and there may not be a player who cares more about winning and cares more about his teammates. Jacob Green is not rebounding to pad his stats. He is rebounding because he wants to win and he wants his teammates to win. And I really just can't say enough about him and the way he plays and the way he carries himself. I love Jacob.
Good win tonight, 54-40 over Guntersville. The boys will be back in action on Friday night here at home against Fairview. Thanks, Coach.
Yep, thanks, man.